Slack and you Major welcome you to the My Type of Hype podcast, where we celebrate hip-hop, not just the hype.
How y'all feel out there?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of My Type of Hype podcast with me, your boy Slack in the building, as always, and my co-host extraordinaire to my left. What's happening, my brother?
Very good, man. We're here. Nice summer's evening, chilling. My Type of Hype, the podcast that celebrates hip-hop and not just the hype. Slack, how are you, my bro? You good?
Bro, when the weather's good, you know what I mean? It'll take a silly man to complain. So can't really complain too much, man. All good. So what's in the bag this week?
Yeah, man. So it's funny because when we're organized people, man. So we look at topics and think about what we're going to be looking at, down the line. And so we was planning to do a little episode on just shocking statements. And it's funny because the timeline's just been mad the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks, whatever. So it all fits in very well. So as you know, hip hop is a topic that we love talking about. People talk about, and it's you get a variation of opinions, don't you? And as we've said before, music, it's all relatable. There's no sort of like solidified right or wrong. But there are some statements that are just out there. You know what I'm saying? So we thought we'd look at some shocking statements today. Put a tweet out recently as well, just to throw us some mad ones that you've heard. And we just thought we'd pull some off there, man. I've made a list, so we thought we'd just pull some out, have a little conversation around it, man. So shocking statements, man. So we'll get right into it. Save time. One of the first ones that was listed was that 1997's Puff Daddy "No Way Out" is a better album. So better album than Dr. Dre's The Chronic. So what's your thoughts on that, bro?
I don't even know if it's fair for me to comment on that because everyone knows how I feel about that piece of shit Puff Daddy, that devil. I don't know what I can really say to that apart from he must be one of Puff Daddy's little boys or whatever. I can't think of one reason why anyone would say that album is better than The Chronic. The album wasn't even one of the best albums of 97. I couldn't even tell you how many. I probably might have listened to, like, skim through it just because the Locks and Biggie were on it. I think maybe there was two tunes, maybe Victory and Young G's, maybe. Like I didn't. So maybe there's like 3 songs. A lot of it was just like just him rapping just pissed me off anyway. Him thinking he could rap and very annoying to me. I hated the Biggie tribute song, and I'm very glad that Sting gets the money for that.
Sting's bored from that.
Yeah. That felt like a cash grab to me. I didn't feel like he was making that song because Biggie was gone. I just felt like he wanted to be you're there dancing in a video and all this shit, and your boy just got killed. Like I hated everything about that song, and he didn't even
write it as well. That's what always
he didn't even come from it. Yeah,
it's from his heart. Like Sauce Money wrote that, and it's like it doesn't make sense, does it?
How are you gonna make a song that's meant to be from your heart about your best friend?
Yeah, someone else wrote it.
Get the fuck out of here, man. And on top of that, the whole thing now about the publishing and all that shit's come out. Like, 30 years later, you decide you want to be a good person and give the estate what they should have had from the very beginning. Or even if you want to eat off it for a couple of years, all right, fine. But you've got to wait 30 years to give the people
30 years.
Shit. And people
like Craig Mack. Yeah, Craig Mack's not even Mack hair anymore.
Black Robin was it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Fuck that guy, man. I can't stand him. Like I've never liked him from day one. Literally when Suge was like all up in the videos and all that kind of stuff, I was literally like, why is he in every video? Like, why am I seeing him in every song he's doing? He wanted to be a star, but he couldn't rap. You know what I mean? You can't sing, you can't dance either. You look like a dickhead. You look like you're having a stroke. Like I couldn't stand it. I hate him. Like I don't hate people generally. I might dislike people, but I hate that guy. Like I can't stand him. I've never liked him, and this is from a kid. Like I just like there's so many good songs that he ruins. Like I just wish there was a way I could remove him from. Like his ad libs just didn't make sense, and I'm not even going to add anymore. Fuck him, man. I don't want nothing to do with that album.
That's actually hilarious.
It's nowhere near the Chronic, bro. Like it's in any way, like the beats, the cohesion, none of it. It's not on the same. I'm guessing the person who said that was probably from fucking Harlem, because there's no way you're putting that album up against the Chronic, bro. Like, it's just on no planet.
It's crazy, and even with the statements that we pull out, you know, we're not specifically looking for ones that we don't agree with. Some we might even think, oh, that's not that out there, but it's one of those ones where even Takeaway Puffy, like you rightly said at the beginning, I did rock that album a lot, mainly because of who was on it, and I was anticipating it. Like I said, I think it was last week when we talked about Sunny and Just for the Beat. I was waiting for it because, like you said, that's the time we could get Lux and More Big at the time.
Right.
So, you know, the features were hard. There's definitely bangers on there. Young G's is hard. You know, the track Twister, Is This the End is hard. Obviously Benjamin's, obviously Victory. And I've said a million times, I weren't even hugely against that commercial stuff at the time. Do you know what I mean? Some of it I enjoyed. It was just feel good music. I knew where I had to go. If I wanted hardcore, I went there. Underground, I went there. Commercial, if it's dope, I don't mind it. So it's not even all that for me. But let's really understand what a classic is. A classic album is something that shifts the atmosphere in hip hop. It's something that is the benchmark that people will compare other albums to. It's an album that it don't matter what coast you're on, you recognize the greatness of that album. It introduces change. It introduces people. It's something that it don't matter if it's 30, 40, 50 years, this album will always be revered and always be spoken about. The Chronic gave us Snoop. You know what I mean? The first voice we heard on the Chronic, Snoop Dogg. It gave us Rage, gave us Corrupt, it gave us Dog Pound, it gave us RBX, you know what I mean? Warren G. It's just, it started the whole G-Funk movement.
Like, it literally started Death Row, innit? Basically.
You cannot put the Chronic against No Way Home. No way home, you know, thinking of Spider-Man, No Way Out.
I wish it was No Way Home. I wish he didn't never find it.
You get what I'm saying? Like they're worlds apart, like they're leagues apart. So for me, that's a wild statement. We're not talking about enjoyability there, but we're saying it's a better album. No,
but
way.
some people don't know the difference, bro. Like I can enjoy an album. I can enjoy an album way more than another one, but I know the difference. I can say I like the album more.
Right?
Is it better? Maybe not. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But some people can't be objective when they talk about music, so that's why we get stupid statements like this. So I'm not going to say that person's wrong because that's how they feel. That's fine. I totally disagree, and I'm pretty sure 99% of hip hop fans will disagree with that statement. There's just no way I could put it up against it. I mean, the Locks, Biggie, I think Kim had a couple verses on it. I don't remember most of it. I just remember skipping a lot because a lot of it I hated Mace as well. Like I couldn't tolerate that. So even the song that he had, what was it, Being Around the World or something? Like how cool is that? Like even they've taken that classic beat. They're talking about, like, when that beat came out, it was all about broken glass everywhere and all that great shit that came from that amazing song. But then you've taken that beat and you're talking about riding around in Rolls Royces and how much money you like. Just everything about it just pissed me off. Like it just didn't make any. When Cube took that beat and did the remix to Wreck Yourself or Check Yourself,
cool.
that was fire because that was along the same kind of lines as the original. But to take that beat and just ruin it with your nonsense, and everything he took, like he said, I'll take hits from the 80s and make it sound crazy or whatever stupidness he said. So you're literally saying I'm going to take a hit and make it another hit. That's not talent to me because it's already a hit. You know what I'm saying? The people that are able to take the samples that no one's heard of will think, wow, how have you done that? But it's like what they're doing now. It's a sample of a sample. So you've basically made something that was already popular. You've remade it. You're not actually sampling and making something new. You're just replaying old shit. I don't respect none of that. So fuck that album, to be honest with you. Got no time for it at all.
No, I hear that. It's nowhere near the Chronic. I hear that. All right, we'll move on to the next one. We'll work through as much as we can before we run out of time. So the next one, rest in peace to the Hevster. Recently, this was a big one on the timeline. Someone basically was just saying that Heavy D was goofy, I think were the exact words that were used. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, and that's the thing about social media, and sometimes you just get the trail end of the conversation. I don't know where it started, how it started, who it came from. But all I know is that, they just started a couple of days talk about Heavy D being goofy and just being lame. So, and it's laughable. As soon as I've said it, you've just laughed. You know what I mean? Like, what people need to realize is that you could still have fun, which Heavy D did many times, and still be dope. You know what I mean? Still be fire, still be very lyrical, still be good with your content. People mistake that. Like, they talk about what fun is now. That's just whack. That's not. That's just
exactly.
stupidity.
Right.
You know, you had artists. I'm not even going to reel through them now, but you had artists that knew how to have fun, but still drop good quality music. Heavy D had fun, but don't take nothing away from him. Heavy D was hard. You see what I'm saying? He's one of the most charismatic MCs that existed.
Easy.
You know what I'm saying? How can you call someone who's so charismatic goofy? Like, the two don't even, you know what I mean? They don't even make sense. They don't belong in the same sentence. You know, we was talking about Posse Cuts, not Posse Cuts. We was talking about Posse Cuts, I think, on one of our episodes. And we were speaking about, there's been so many times, I think it was Rowick Flavor, obviously the
Don't Curse.
Boogie Down Productions. Yeah, Don't Curse. There was the Boogie Down Productions song, Self Destruction. So many like Posse Cuts where as soon as Heavy D comes in, it's like, it's his time. Like, it's undeniable who he is, who he brought into the game, his talent, his eye for talent. Do you know what I mean? Like, producer wise, he was dope as well.
He produced as well.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, like, I don't agree with that. What's your thoughts on that? Heavy D being goofy.
Luckily, I don't know how, but thankfully, I didn't see that conversation because that would have pissed me off if I saw that, to be honest. And I totally echo what you just said. People now conflate fun with whackness. If you say something's whack, they're like, oh, but they're just having fun. So it's like, oh, you old heads hate fun. It's like, bro, if you were smart enough to understand hip hop, you would know that it started off as like the fun. If you actually look and see the songs that were coming out, a lot of it was people up in the parties. We had the 2 Live Crew. We had like a whole heap of songs that was just fun. So to say that old heads hate fun is dumb in itself, but a lot of sentences that start with old heads just is a lot of fuckery follows that a lot of the time, 99% of the time. So to say that Heavy D was goofy because a lot of his music was lighthearted, but he could actually rap. That's the difference. He could make songs. He could produce. And as you said, he could spot talent. Like, many artists will tell you, like, even when we interviewed Grap and he was talking about the amount of people that Heavy D put on, people talk about having a conversation with Heavy D, him helping them with their label situations. Like, Heavy D did a lot of stuff behind the scenes that doesn't get recognized. Like, not many people knew that he produced the Don for Nas. Like, not many people knew that. Not many people knew that he did In the Air for Beans. Not many people knew this. And like, these are hard tunes. And like, these men are going to Heavy D for this kind of stuff. Would they do that if he was a goofball? Like, I doubt that.
Right, exactly.
The thing about Hev as well, like, he had commercial appeal because he could make relatable songs. Like, he did Black Coffee. He did what's the other tune? Where he's got all the girls in the video. Oh man.
Not now that we find love.
Nah. It'll come to me, man.
Oh, Nothing But Love. Nothing But Love.
Nothing But Love. That's the one.
Yeah.
Like, he could make tunes for any. He could make tunes for the chicks. He can make tunes 100%. For and it wouldn't feel forced. Like, that's the skill in making songs like that. It doesn't feel like your labels come to you and said, you have to make this song for the club. You have to make this song for the. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he would make songs and it would just feel like that was just him. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
So, yeah, 100%. Man. Hev, man. I think Hev is just one of those that, you know, like when people talk about Busta Rhymes and they say, oh, he just shouts, and it's like, have you actually listened to a Busta album? Was he shouting when he did the heist and he absolutely destroyed that whole shit? Or when he did that verse on the Flip Mode album, and he's like, give me your F, and every line that he said began with an F. Give me your F. Like, are you telling me that man can't rap? You're saying all he does is shout. That means you're not listening. You haven't listened to enough to form an opinion. And it's the same with Heavy D. Like, if you listen to what that man did, the beats that he made, and he was able to do, like, because he did Heavy D and the Boys, then he did Heavy D. Do you know what I mean?
So stuff,
that man was mega talented, and everyone knows about hip hop will tell you Heavy D is one of the most talented dudes in the game, man. So
yeah, man,
makes no
fully
sense.
agree. Nah, I think of the Who's the Man soundtrack. That was laced, man.
Wow!
And still, my favorite track is his track. Who's the Man? That track is like 5 Mic track to me. It's hard. Like
I forgot
everything about it is hard. Yeah. Trust me, it's like like you said, he can do it all, man. He can do it all. So yeah, without a doubt, that just makes no sense to me, and I think that's insane. That's someone who has maybe seen a little light-hearted something here and down, and just never tapped in any further, and just like don't know anything about it. You know what I mean?
But then this is the key, though, bro. If you don't know, it's okay to shut up. Like, it's fine. There's 80s artists that I know of, but I haven't really checked into their catalogs like that. Do you know what I mean? Like. Like, let's say MC Shan, for instance. I know songs of Shan. I've never really dug into Shan's albums like that, because he wasn't someone I really was feeling like that. And I was heavy into BDP, and obviously they had their little thing going on. So I was kind of on Camp BDP. I wasn't really checking for Shan and that lot. Do I respect Shan? Yeah, because I know what he did for hip-hop. Would I say that he's one of my faves? No. Would I talk shit about him? No, because I don't know enough to talk shit about him. Do you know what I mean? So I think that now we're in an age where we have to hear people's opinions or see people's opinions on our phones. We didn't have to have that before. If we was having these discussions, it'll be like-minded people that have got the same, you know what I mean? But now we're sharing opinions with like kids, literally like 18 years old, who've never heard and weren't around when things were coming out, don't understand the impact, but they've got so much to say about it. So, So yeah, it's just a bit puzzling on some aspects.
No. Yeah, don't make no sense, man. I agree with that. And you spent a bit of time speaking about Busta, so I'm going to go into that one as another one that was down. And you know what, bro? I'm going to be honest with you. This one annoys the life out of me. I hear it so often, and I hate it. It's like, it just makes no sense to me. But you probably know what I'm going to say. But it's when they say Busta Rhymes has no classic album.
Oh yeah.
For me, bro, I've
heard this for years now. It's pathetic now at this point. To be honest.
It makes no sense. Like, someone is even on the timeline not too long ago saying, why does he get the props that he gets? Like, does he really deserve all of the props? I'm like, listen, he's ticked every single box in hip hop.
Multiple times.
Every single box, multiple times. You know what I mean? He's got classics with his group who came out with classic singles. He's a classic debut. So does Busta Rhymes have classics? For me, he came out the gate with a classic. To come in as a classic for me. It was, we never heard anything like Busta or anything like that album at that time. And probably still since, you know what I'm saying? There is everyone's talking about no biting allowed and this and that and be original. Listen, you do not get more original than Busta Rhymes.
Facts.
There is no other MC like Busta Rhymes. And like you said before, we're not talking about shouting or the animation or whatever. Busta can do it all. He can go crazy. He can shout. He can do reggae. He can chat. He can do it slow, monotone if he wants, wild if he wants, concepts. Don't take away his storytelling ability as well. He's a deep thinker. I was thinking about what's the album? The Big Bang album, which is mad, to be honest. Hey, you got Stevie Wonder,
Rick James.
Anyway, mad.
Marshall.
Yeah, mad album.
Crazy.
Yeah, classic. And then like I think the last track on that album, man. What's it called? Something like
the Death of the Fall Off.
The Legend of the Fall or something like that. How deep that song is when he's talking about, like, it's a song about death, but he's talking about when artists fall off and they just don't know when to sort of say, right, that's it. Well, that's a deep song. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's definitely,
it's like someone like digging a grave.
It feels dark and it's like airy. Like, he makes solid albums. So, like, to say he's got no classic, you've not listened to any albums of his. You're just hearing but you know what? in hip hop, a lot of times people are like, "Oh, you're just talking about singles." Busta's one of those MCs that even if we're only talking about the singles,
He's still up there.
he has multiple classic singles.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Multiple. That's insanity for me. Like, I really don't understand how he's not revered enough for people to think, oh, does he? He deserves all the accolade he gets. He's ticked every single box multiple times. Performance, freestyle, albums, singles, group work, solo work, videos, creativity, fashion, even crew with flip modes. He's ticked every box, man. Do you know what I mean?
Every box. So
Yeah, man.
When I see people saying that kind of shit, I'm just like, all right, whatever. Like, I don't even bother arguing because you've just hit the nail on the head. If you can do every single bit and do it well, and people are still talking shit, then that, and like I said before, if people just bring Busta down, boil him down to he's rah, then you haven't listened. Was it rah when he did Give It To You with Mariah? Was that rah? Right. Was it rah when he did that tune with Sean Paul?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, he's got so many joints. Even it's the same with MOP though. People go, oh, MOP, exactly. But it's like, have you listened to what these dudes are saying on it's not just rah. Like, they've got Billy Dan's had a verse where he's talking about him being an alcoholic and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I mean? They just bring it down to, you know what I mean? They shout a lot, or they're very aggressive. A lot of people can't get past the facade of what's being presented. They can't get past the dreads and the colorful outfits and the voice. So rather than listening to what's actually being said, it's just, oh, he's very animated. He's got dreads. He's got this. So he can't be good at rapping. But it's like, okay, but have you listened to what he's actually saying? How he actually structures those verses? Even the song Woo Ha, the song that he came out with out the gate, right? If you actually listen to the rhyme structures, the way that he starts, or is it ends every verse with the same sound?
Yeah.
So for one verse, end every verse with "oh," and the second verse will end every verse with something else. That's not easy to do, and for it to make sense, and for it to be on beat and everything. And he, like you said, who else could bring out a song called Woo Ha like that with that video?
No one is doing that.
Who else in hip hop could make that song? Nobody. Could you imagine Ice Cube doing a Woo Ha? No. Snoop? No. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, none of these dudes could do that. And we're always screaming about be original, gotta have your own style, And let's be smart as well. That album came out in 96. So in about 3 years' time, even less than that, 2 and a bit years' time, the album's gonna be 30 years old. And I could still put the album on now. Easily. And I could Hot Fudge, Ill Vibe, Everything Remains Raw, Woo Ha, all of that. How are you going to sit there and tell me that's not a classic album 30 years later?
Nah. So, it makes no sense to me. And the fact that he's still so relevant, like, you know, he's still so relevant. Like, he still can jump on a track with your biggest artist,
anybody,
and still kill it. Do you know what I mean? We said it a few times.
He'll kill them on stage. He will kill them on stage.
Definitely.
If they jump on stage, they're getting eaten alive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he dropped ELE 3 years ago. That was a hard album, man.
Hard.
Like, don't get me wrong, he's dropped a couple that I ain't feeling. There's no doubt about that. But in a career that's been like 35 years, that's to be expected.
Exactly.
And when you think about his hit and misses in 35 years, it's insane to not say he needs to be revered. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, he's done it all.
I think that goes without saying. Do you know what album I listened to the other day that I thought, Jesus, like, this guy? It was the ELE1. When you listen to some of the beats that he was rapping over, he was inspired on that album, bro. That album was crazy. Like, he's got some like, who would rap over the Psycho sample? DJ Scratch was crazy for that alone. Like, make that beat the way he did, and for Busta to flow over that beat, I could only imagine how hard that studio session must have been, because that is insane when you think about how that song come together. And in the video, like, that song even charted over here. That's how big that tune was. That tune was top 10 over here. Do you know what I mean? So for people, I don't know what more he could do.
He's creative, man. And the Night Rider beat, like for him to ride over that so well. Do you know what I mean?
That charted over here too. That charted
It
big
did,
time.
yeah, he did. Yeah, he killed it. I think he's got a minimum of 2 classic solo albums, in my opinion. Minimum of 2.
Yeah, I'd say the first two,
the first 2. Yeah,
When Disaster Strikes and The Coming, I would happily put ELE up there because ELE sounds 100 times better than many albums that drop today. Many, because there's beats on there that other rappers just couldn't even attempt to rap over.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And
exactly.
he absolutely killed it. But you know what? Saying all that, we talk about those 3 albums. The Big Bang, top to bottom, is a phenomenal album, bro. Phenomenal album.
I agree. I was thinking that the other day. Top 4
features, singles, concepts. You got Cocaina. You got that tune with Stevie in the Ghetto. You got the one with Rick James. You got like, I think there was only one song on there that I skipped, and it was I Love My Chick or whatever that was.
I don't even mind that, you know. I know what you mean. It's probably one of my least favorite ones, but
it's Will I Am and that whole Black Eye. I didn't like that shit. I didn't like the video. I didn't like it because it was that Mr. and Mrs. Smith kind of concept for the video. Yeah, I wasn't feeling that. I thought that was corny. But the rest of the album, bro, you got Bang Your Head, Break Your Neck on there. I mean, how hard was that? Busta Rhymes over Dre production? Come on, man. Come on.
No, that album, he goes in on that album, man. It's definitely probably, I was thinking about it the other day as I was thinking about his catalogue. It's probably about, I'd definitely top 5 in his catalogue for me. Maybe even top 3, top 4. Do you know what I mean? Because I think the Big Bang
is the hard album. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Busta album, but when you think about, like quality wise, that is an amazing album. It really is.
Yeah. Definitely. Exactly. And you got to think about the people that show up for him as well. Like, that's, do you know what I mean? That says a lot as well. Certain people, Rick James, you know what I mean? Stevie Wonder. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and these are not little features. They're all over the track, man. Do you know what I mean? Janet Jackson. Do you know what I'm saying?
Ozzy Osbourne. Who the hell? Who the hell could do a song with Ozzy Osbourne? That's he's literally done it all, man. There's nothing more in hip hop. Nothing more.
Yeah. Agreed, man. So has he got classics? Definitely. So don't give it that one. Moving on to the next one was that Chuck D is whack, basically. Chuck D.
Oh,
shouldn't it? Chuck D is whack. I'll let you kick off, man. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't even want to address this one. That's just ridiculous. Chuck D is whack. I don't even know what to say to that, bro.
It's ridiculous.
That
for me,
that must be like 10 years old.
Yeah. See, there's certain artists that, like I say many times, transcend rapping, transcend hip hop. Yeah. And I always put Tupac in that category. And that was another one, but I didn't list that down because that's just been going on for years. That Tupac ain't lyrical. I'm not even addressing that. But yeah, people like Tupac, DMX, Chuck D, people like these, they transcend rapping. So is Chuck D the most technical, lyrical? Is he a Pharoah Monch? Is he a early Eminem? No, he's not. But let me tell you something. Probably no one has done more for hip hop content, education wise, and brought more of a relevance to hip hop and an understanding to what people was going through and an enlightenment than Chuck D and Public Enemy in general. To say he's whack is you just looking at him bar for bar in comparison to some other technical rappers and saying he doesn't meet their quality. Chuck D will tell you himself he didn't even want to rap. You see what I'm saying? But we won't even talk about his voice because he's probably got one of the best voices in the whole of hip hop. So not even addressing his voice, but just talking about him rapping. How can you listen to an MC that gave us the albums they gave us? Yeah, Rush the Show. Do you know what I mean? Takes a Nation, a Millions to Hold Us Back. 91 Apocalypse. All of these. Yeah, thinking all of the albums that he's brought to us, the content in all of them, and say he's whack makes no sense to me. Like, it makes no sense.
I don't even think that one. None of these have deserved a response, to be completely honest with you. But for the purpose of the show and all that. But to say, I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say to that. That's just the most dumb shit I've ever heard in my life. I mean, again, some people don't know how to differentiate between a technical rapper. Ice Cube wasn't a technical rapper, right? He wasn't all syllabled up, metaphored up. He just punched you in the face with every line that he's saying.
Yeah.
So he make you pay attention to what he's saying. That's how some rappers are. Some rappers just say what the fuck they want to say over a beat, and they're just great at projecting their message. Chuck D was probably one of the first to do that. He wasn't going to metaphor you to death. He wasn't going to simile you and go crazy with a bot. And you got to remember the time that he came out too. He came out in the 80s. He didn't come out in 2001. If he came out in 2001 rapping like that, people might go, what's going on here? When he came out, and even to this day, there's no one like Chuck D. There's only one Chuck D. You can't mistake him for anybody else. Exactly. And for him to be like that, to have that voice, to make people get Public Enemy tattoos, like I've got a Public Enemy tattoo.
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. I think to say he's whack, like, do they know what the word whack actually means? Do you know what for these people that say this kind of shit, ask them what kind of stuff they listen to. And they'll probably be like Post Malone. If you're like, oh, right,
that's
okay,
what we do. Right.
So you listen to Post Malone, but you're saying Chuck D. So straight away, your opinion's irrelevant then to me.
That's what I'm saying, because that's why I said you're just looking at the technicality of the rapping. But when you mentioned that he don't really give you don't see no similes really, metaphors and all of that. But that takes skill. Do you see what I'm saying? To just deliver a message. Like you speak to, like, how much the show was 87, 86, 87, yeah. Then obviously, 87. And then obviously Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, 88. You speak to most hip hop heads, like real hip hop heads of a certain era, and they'll easily say that, you know, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back is potentially the greatest hip hop album ever made, right? And I think we need to take a moment at that, because if you're looking at that, and then Public Enemy, multiple classics, they're one of the few groups that have multiple classics. Yeah, some might argue Bum Rush the Show, but definitely 3 classics they've got in their catalogue, you know, right? Without all the fancy, skillful metaphor, simile rapping, this guy has taken Bomb Squad with the production. He's taken a situation, he's taken concepts, and his main focus has been to deliver a message. And like I said before, when I spoke about Kendrick Lamar, I like Kendrick, but I'm not a huge fan, because I feel, especially with the Big Steppers, whatever it's called, album that just dropped, sometimes I feel like with him, when you've got the message, there's not really the desire to go back and listen. I don't think he has much replay value, right? But here we have Chuck D. His albums, they have immense replay value, still delivering a message from 1986, 87, whatever, till now. He's still beyond irrelevant. How can you say like he's whack? Like, it just makes no sense. Do you know what I mean?
It would have made more sense if they just said, "I don't like Chuck D. I don't like."
That's what it needs to be.
Yeah,
right.
Then okay, that's fine. That's your opinion. But to say he's whack, I don't know. That's something completely different. Because technically, I don't know how you could say that man is whack from everything that he's done, the music, everything.
Yeah.
Like for me as a kid to know the words to Fight the Power, like as a child.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
How is that whack? That's what I mean. How is that whack? To take something, such an important message, and be 9, 10 years old and know the words to that song. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. His Public Enemy's music was like school for us. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they taught us something. They taught us something, man. Like, it's, nah. Lame.
I don't get that one. That one doesn't make sense to me at all.
Okay, so moving on. Another one was that Master P's catalog is better than Nas's.
No, that can't be serious, man.
No, real talk. None of these came from us. This is what we've picked
Master
up.
P's catalog. Does he mean his catalog of shoes? His catalog of cereals? I don't know, but it can't be music. That there's nothing to even speak about here. Master P's catalog isn't better than other artists on his own label. So what are we even talking about here.
And it's funny because
I'm guessing that person was from the deep south.
right, I was going to say a lot of this is going to probably depend on, you know, your affiliation or what you came up on. Because, but even now, I don't know. At the risk of like, you know, my hip hop card being taken away, I think Nas's catalog doesn't match the artist. You see what I'm saying? When you look at who Nas is, I feel his catalog, there's a miss there. I've felt that for a long period of time, but I will say with his last 2-3 year run, that's insane. That's insane. His run that he's doing at the moment, the KD series, Magic 1 and 2, that's insane. Like, there's no doubt about that. Nas will go down as probably the greatest of all time. Like, we understand that. But I just feel sometimes when you're looking at his catalog, there's definitely a lot of like potholes in his catalog, man. And I feel like he'd say himself, you get me? It's not a smooth ride. There's a lot of potholes. I feel like it's not a smooth ride of his catalog. But Master P's catalog, when you really look at his catalog, I don't think, obviously for me, Deep South, it might be different, but I don't think he even really started getting any real attention till like album number 3 or 4, was it?
Master P was rapping since like 91, 92.
Yeah, ages, dropping albums independently.
The first time I heard about him was Ice Cream Man, which I think was around 95, 96, because Ghetto D came out in 97.
Right, that was after.
And I remember that because 97 was a bit of a dry year for hip hop, so I was just scrambling to buy stuff, and I saw the Ghetto D album, and I was like, I like the cover, so I'm going to try it. Literally, that was it, because I hadn't really ever dug into Master P's music like that at all. But I saw that cover, and it was like the orange like plastic, which was just way different to everything else that was there, so it stood out. And I got it, and I played it, and I was like, I really like the Ghetto D song, the Ghetto Dope song, how they took the Eric B for President and they made that How to Cook Coke. I thought that was very dope. Yeah. So to start the album like that, I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, there's a few tunes on there that I liked. But was he a good rapper? Absolutely fucking not. He's terrible.
No.
And he wouldn't tell you that he's a good rapper either. He'll be like, rap was my hustle. That was his thing. Yeah. He was like, rap's my hustle.
Respect, yeah.
Yeah. But he would never call himself like the best rapper or none of that. So let's be smart. And I don't give a shit if you grew up in the Mississippi River. You're not putting that. Bro, I'm so tired of this nonsense that you.
The Mississippi River. Yeah.
I'm so tired that if you're from some part of the South, then there's always some fight going on with New York, and it's just boring, man. Just get over it.
It's not even that. 100%.
Get over it. It's so boring. Like, okay, like you've got all these Future and all them. Like, have it. No one cares anymore, man. Just get over it. It's ridiculous now. To put Master P against Nas with a straight face because you want the South to be recognized. They've been running hip hop for how many years? Like, just fucking take it and run with it. Just leave all that nonsense alone, man. Seriously, it's just boring now. It's dumb.
No, definitely. Because there'll definitely be people that would be like, "No, that's because you weren't from over here, or you weren't this." Because I know
I wasn't from LA. I wasn't from LA.
Right, exactly. There'll definitely be people that was watching
and I listened to Snoop. I wasn't from New York. I wasn't born in New York, and I listened to Nas, and I listened to Jay, and I listened to Big. Why do I have to be born in the South to appreciate Southern music? What are you talking about?
Yeah. And one of the things that annoys me as well is when people come with the because we've had it. You know what I mean? You're from the UK, you can't really talk on hip hop and all that rubbish. But when you really think about it, bro, we're actually in a great position because we don't have no bias. Like, I weren't born in Brooklyn. Like, I don't have any bias for New York. I don't have any bias for West Coast. I don't have any bias for the South. For us, it's just like what makes our ears.
Exactly.
If we like it,
guess what? I don't want to be born in Brooklyn. Like, I don't want to. I could have gone to live in New York when I was 16 years old. I had the opportunity to go and do my scholarship there. I chose to stay here. I don't want to be from there. I'm very proud of where I'm from. I know where I'm from. I don't need to be from there to appreciate good music. Culturally, I'm very tied in. I've got a lot of family there, all that kind of shit. I spent a lot of time there. So culturally, yes, I am very close to it. But do I want to be from there? No, I don't want no parts of it, to be honest with you. The music and all of that, I love, yes. So all of this, you're from the go and tell the artists that have to come here to make a name for themselves
Right.
that you're from the UK because you lot didn't fuck with them, so they had to come here to make a name. Master Ace told me that face to face last week.
Exactly.
So I don't give a shit about these people on Twitter that talk all this nonsense because they don't leave their state, they don't leave their stoop, they don't leave their borough. So it's cool. Like I'm not bothered. Like I've traveled, I've met people, I've met artists, I've met rappers, I've spoken to them directly, and they've told me to my face, if I didn't come to the UK or Europe to actually have people buying my shit. Master Ace was doing songs last week, right, that weren't even released, and people were singing that or rapping that shit word for word, bro. Do you know how much he appreciates that? Because he even before he did I think it was the Get Ya song, he was like, I brought this song out, didn't make no noise in the States. It was a white label. It never actually was released because I was between like not being signed and being signed. And he was like, he dropped in the UK and people loved it and I got a deal off it. And he was like, I'll always love you guys for that. And it's not just him. Like there's many.
Nah, it's a common story.
Chuck D will tell you the same thing. Chuck D had to tour with rock groups in order to be recognized. So I don't care about what these people say. It doesn't mean nothing to me. It's nonsense.
Yeah. Their albums have snippets of London shows. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like it's that.
London.
Yeah, we know what it is, man. But you know, sometimes it's that because so you can say, "Oh, you're not from the South, you didn't know." Okay, I'm sure people in your neighborhood knew of Master P in '91. That's cool, but what we're trying to establish here, how much did it really hit? Because did it leave your little community? Like Nas's Illmatic blew up. No, less than me. It didn't blow up everywhere straight away. I'm not saying that, but the impact it made outside of just Queens was huge. Do you know what I mean? And then you're looking at what it is and what it's become. Yeah, I don't think the catalogs can be compared. Like you rightly said, that was Master P's hustle. Do you know what I mean? Which I respect. Hands down is, you know, what the blueprint for the hustle. You know what I mean? You can't take nothing away from Master P in that sense.
No, not at
but
all.
catalog wise, it's not going to stand against Nas's. Like album for album.
Literally, unless you're literally from his road or whatever it was that he grew up on. Like,
his neighbor.
No one's ever gonna really say, "Come on, let's throw that Master P catalog." If you put album for album against Nas, it's looking ridiculous. It's like it's Mike Tyson versus Robin Givens in a ring, in a boxing ring. Like it's definitely pathetic, bro. Like, so that's not even worth addressing. But yeah, just stop this bias because it just makes you look stupid when you keep saying stuff like that.
Like what
just to elevate wherever you was from. Like no one cares where you're from, bro. Like seriously, no one gives a shit where you're from. Is the music good or is it not? That's it. That's what I care about.
Yeah. If someone don't like you, it's because I'm from here. Nah.
Yeah.
It really don't matter.
Yeah.
It don't matter where I'm from.
Don't get me wrong. I understand where it comes from. I understand because you know, people of mine, they wouldn't listen to artists from LA. It's not just the South. They wouldn't listen to certain art because they thought that the raps were too simple. Like they thought it was too ABC-ish, like 1, 2, 3 into the 4, Snoop Doggy Dogg. Like they thought that was remedial.
Yeah.
So they didn't fuck with it. And that's fine. But then the West Coast, they always showed a lot of respect for a lot of the artists on the East Coast. So that's why there was that whole kind of that's why West Side Connection was so pissed because they're like, we've always showed you guys love and you guys always shit on us. Then obviously you got Andre and that lot, the South got something to say when they came to the East. So everyone's like, this is where hip hop started, therefore none of you guys ain't shit. That's basically what it is. Hip hop started in New York, none of you guys ain't shit. All you Southern guys sound stupid, you're dumb, you're uneducated, you sound like you're, you know, it's the same with the West Coast. They said the same thing. So that's why they've all got something to say about New York, because for a long time, that's what a lot of people in New York were saying. Everyone outside of New York was trash. And that's fine. That's what it was, but it's not that anymore. So just leave it alone, man. It's just ridiculous now.
No, 100%, man. We're past that, man. It's not even about that. Because you know, we came up in the same era where people wouldn't even listen to give UK rappers any time of day. And that's why I've always got
UK rap. I could probably count on one hand. Because I think a lot of it, when they would try to copy New Yorkers and sound like they were from New York, it sounded terrible, bro. And even now, where they're talking like UK drill and stuff, it's like you're not paying homage to where drill actually came from. Like you're trying to make it out like it started here. It didn't start here. Like you take a music, Like there would be no hip hop if it wasn't for America, would there?
Yeah.
So how are
No,
you trying to say
definitely,
that? How you try to say that we started some genre of hip hop here? We didn't.
that didn't
And a lot
start
of
here,
it
yeah.
sounds terrible from being like a lot of the production is poor. A lot of the rappers say the sound the same, say the exact same stuff. Like I'm not in it, and that's where I'm from. I was born here, so
Yeah.
yeah, and I can happily
No,
say
definitely.
I don't rock with that. I like what I like. I don't like that a lot
Yeah.
of the stuff that's here. So it is what it is.
And it's originality. I mean, that's why I've always got such a huge amount of respect for people like London Posse and Cash and the Calf and people like even Sway. I know he's quite a few years later, but
Yeah,
they were like, we're repping the UK. Like they weren't even
right,
dissing America at all, but they were like, this is us.
right.
We're not trying to, like, a lot of people mention hijacking that. Like they, no doubt, Horns of Jericho is a classic. Bro, they rap American. Like Comanche Sly raps American. Like
There you go.
when I was young, when my big sister used to always play that album all the time, I thought they were American. So
There you
when he
go.
was talking about Brixton and different things like that, I'm thinking, I couldn't understand why he's talking about Brixton, but he sounds like he's from America. Do you know what I mean? So then obviously I realized now they're UK rappers. So that's why people like London Posse, Kalashnikov, Sway, all these kind of people that really bigged up the UK and done their thing hard and earned respect as well. I got a
Because they
lot
rep
of
where they're from,
love
like
there.
Gigs. You would never mistake Gigs. I don't think Gigs.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just put it out there.
Bro,
I
no.
don't think Gigs is a
Yeah.
good rapper. I really don't. But I respect
Not
the man.
at all.
He's never pretended he was from somewhere else. He's
Right.
always been like, I am from here. Kano, same thing. Kano's a Hackney
Same.
boy, and that's where he reps. East London. That's where he reps. Them man there, I got nothing but respect for them because they always stayed who the fuck they are, and they made people come to them. They never went out. Like that's why I respected DMX so much as well. DMX was like, I'm gonna make this kind of music. If you like it, come over. Like I'm gonna bark like a dog. I'm gonna say a prayer. I'm gonna talk to the devil. I'm gonna do all kind of crazy stuff on my album. If you rock with it, come to me. If you don't, like he never made music for the charts, but guess what? The charts came to him because the music was good.
Exactly. He did
And it's
not.
the same
It was
thing
gritty, man.
Yeah. And that was released in the height of the Jiggy era. So for him to come out with an album that disgusting, amazing to me. And it's the same thing with some of the London dudes that are like, I'm not going to rap in a US accent. I'm going to rap in my accent. And I'm going to talk about what goes on here. And if you rock with it, cool. So all them dudes, even the dudes from the South, like 8 Ball and MJG and all them kind of guys, mad respect for them because guess what? They always just spoke about where they're from, what's going on. That man. So I don't get all the regional stuff, man.
When it weren't cool to be from the South, so to speak.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
I guess what
like,
they make people.
I ain't gonna lie.
They can rap.
Yeah, exactly. Because I ain't gonna lie. People like 8 Ball and MJG, a lot of maybe not them specifically, but some of them Southern MCs, I was more introduced to them when they featured on work outside of their borough, their region. And then I thought, right, these guys are sick, and you tap in. Is that what I'm saying? So that's proof that they were just doing their thing hard, rapping where they're from, and then it was going out. People was like, "Nah, come, I want you on my stuff." You know what I mean? Because it's like that's what you got to do. You just got to be true to yourself. So it's not even about no region or nothing, man. If it's dope, it's dope. That's all it is. That's what we need to do.
So yeah, Master P against Nas, mismatch. In whatever category you want to put them up against each other, it's ridiculous. So yeah.
Agreed. All right. So look at that time. We got 3 more. I think we'll throw them out. Have a little chat around them, and we're good. So next one, Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Jay-Z, Reason Without Jay-Z, 1996, Jay-Z owes his career to Beyonce. That made me chuckle. Jay-Z, who gave us Reasonable Doubt in 1996. Yeah.
Even before that.
And then In My Lifetime, Volume 1 in 97. Yeah. Then Hard Knock Life in 98, which is when he really blew and became commercial. All this time, Beyonce ain't on the scene. Yeah. Or common knowledge on the scene. How did Beyonce make it? Maybe in today's world, like his relevance.
Today's world, bro.
Not musically, but maybe his not his hip hop relevance, but not his music relevance. He will always be relevant. He's Jay-Z, and I'm not just saying it because he's my favorite. It's nothing to do with that. He will always be relevant. He drops a verse, the internet shut down. That's just how he is, who he is. So, but there is definitely a different kind of reach with Beyonce on his arm. But to say that she made his career is insane. Insane.
That would probably come from maybe some Nicki Minaj, Dick Rider, or one of them stupid little kids who only found out about Jay-Z in the last few years.
Yeah. And they've done the Love and Everything.
Probably just you watch Love and Hip Hop and all that kind of shit, because that doesn't even deserve me wasting breath on it, to be honest with you. You just hit the nail on the head. How could she be responsible for his career if he had a career before he even knew who she was?
Not a struggling one.
That's even go before night, because Destiny's Child were on 50 Cent's that Power of the Dollar album.
Yeah. So that was 99.
That was 99. And that album didn't actually come out officially. So the only people that really knew that was the people who were really plugged in and knew about hip hop and knew about 50 Cent before he actually blew up. So she weren't even big then. No one knew them. So when did Destiny's Child really blow with that? No.
I think it was year. Later that year.
Was it 99?
I think it was 99 or 2000, 99 or 2000. I think that was yeah.
All right, let's give them 2000.
Dropped an album.
Let's be generous and give them 2000, right? So, Reasonable Doubt 96, In My Lifetime Volume 1 97, Volume 2 98, Volume 3 99, correct?
Yep, that's right.
That's one album every single year, by the way.
Yeah, right, exactly.
There wasn't even a break.
Exactly.
That was one album every year. And then in 2000, I think that's when he did the Best of Both Worlds with that pedophile. So
yeah, I think it was. And he done Dynasty album in 2000 as well.
So you're telling me that the biggest part of his career, which was basically from 96 to 2000, because like you said, it was the Hard Knock Life that really exploded his career. Because I think he said it himself. He said something about how much records, I can't remember what line it was, but he made reference to how many records he sold when Hard Knock Life 2 came out. Yeah. So how would that even make, unless Beyonce had a DeLorean, I don't know, maybe she's got a DeLorean.
Exactly, right.
She can go back in time or whatever, but what's the point in even wasting time on that? Like, factually, it doesn't make any sense. She wasn't even around when he was made. I remember
exactly.
He did on do you remember the box when they used to do little interviews?
Yeah.
There was an interview he did, and there was he was sitting on some steps and he had a watch on, and he was like, people look at this watch and think, oh, that's a silver watch. And he'd be like, no, that's a platinum Rolex. And it'd be like, people will be looking in his glass and be like, oh, what's that? He's like, that's Cristal or whatever.
Cristal, yeah.
And he's like, look at my car and all this shit. And I'm like, oh wow, like this guy is on something. I can't remember what year that was, around between 97, 98-ish, around that.
I was going to say that's probably imaginary player.
Yeah, it was that kind of era. Yeah. So he's got all of that. Never even heard of Beyonce. Probably couldn't even pronounce her name, but she's responsible for his career. Okay, factually incorrect. Next.
There you go. There you go. Makes no sense. All right. So okay, this one's funny. So Eminem was responsible for making hip hop global.
Someone white said that, and this is the reason that Eminem gets hate, because a lot of people didn't rock with Eminem because his content was a bit zany and a bit kind of. Some people didn't get his sense of humor. If you look back at a lot of his singles, My Name Is and all that kind of stuff that he was doing, mocking Britney, mocking Justin Timberlake, mocking Christina Aguilera. It was very childish. It was very... Yeah. So some people are going to be like, I ain't got time for this clown shit. And that's totally fine. But it will be popular because if you're making content that resonates with a specific audience, then it's going to be popular. Like, there was a discussion going on the timeline, and I was talking about sales. I put up a tweet where Ed Love was basically saying, look, you ain't got to be talented to sell a bunch of records, basically. So my thing was, if you make music that can reach a bigger audience, then technically it's going to sell more. That's just common sense. If I make a song about dealing drugs and I'm using a load of metaphors and all kinds of shit, kids ain't going to know what I'm really talking about. But if I make a song that's just fun and whatever, they're going to buy that because they're going to listen. They're going to like the hook, or they're going to like whatever. So there's certain songs that's just not going to sell because that's not what it was made to do. It was made to speak to a certain audience. Like some rappers didn't give a shit how many people bought it. Like they would say, I don't want to go pop. Like how much was that a trend in hip hop? Like I don't want to go pop. I don't want R&B or my hooks. I don't want that kind of shit. I'm grimy. I'm underground. So they weren't interested in that kind of stuff. But then they get measured against this. You never sold records and all this. It's like I was never trying to sell records.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Eminem came out and he was making music that was completely different from anyone else and all that kind of stuff. So there's going to be audiences that are going to rock with him because they're like, a white guy.
Right.
And that's totally fine. But to say that he basically he introduced hip hop to people that were probably racist, thought that is some monkey music or all that kind of stuff. So yeah, okay, cool. The people that rock with him only rock with him. They don't listen to hip hop. So I don't give a shit what they got to say. If you only listen to one artist because he looks like you or because whatever,
very true.
That speaks about you. Yeah, exactly. That speaks more about you than anything else. So who cares what you have to say, basically? So hip hop was already global, my friend. So whoever,
of course,
said that, then they probably haven't been alive for too long, and they're definitely white.
Yeah, and the hilarious thing is that Eminem would he's so hip hop.
He'd never.
Do you know what I mean? Like he'd say Run DMC, if anything. Like, do you know what I mean? He'd be like, no, like me. Like you hit the nail on the head. He just introduced hip hop to probably people that would never peer into our world before. Do you know what I mean? And even when you listen to, I'm an early Eminem fan. I say early Eminem fan because I can't listen to him today. But his first few albums, I think he's incredible. I'm a fan. Do you know what I mean? And had them in heavy rotation. Still, I was listening to Slim Shady LP a few weeks back again. I think he's brilliant. I think he's a talent, man. There's no doubt about that. But when you really look at what he was rapping about,
yeah, for real, crazy.
There is no connection to the black community. What he's rapping.
No,
there isn't. You see what I'm saying? Which is cool.
But that's fine because he's rapping about where he's from. I didn't expect him to be rapping about black shit because guess what? He's not black. You know what I mean? Like he kind of clearly says where he's from, what he grew up doing, and whatever. So I wanted that song Rock Bottom. I think is brilliant, where he's talking about everything he's talking about Rock Bottom. When I first heard that, I was like, damn, that's a really dope song. He had another song, I can't remember what it was called now, but he's basically doing the same thing. He's talking about coming up from the bottom and all that kind of stuff. So that made me like appreciate you're making songs where I can understand where you're coming from, because I would have no idea about a white guy in Detroit. Do you know what I mean? That I would have no idea. So yeah, there's certain songs where I'm like, okay, cool, I get it, and it would open up more people
because it's relatable.
Yeah, that's totally fine. But to say he took it global, I'm not too sure about that. My
it's
friend.
the disrespect to the pioneers and to those that really did. I'd give that crown to Run DMC. Do you know what I mean? They're really probably the ones.
Well, it's more than that. I mean, when Tupac died, even before he died, he had a double album that took over the world. Biggie, same thing.
Yeah.
Prior to that, you've had many, like you had he came out in 99? So you had at least 20 years of hip hop before he even touched the microphones. If hip hop was around for that long before he came, I'm pretty sure it'll be fine without him too.
It was global, exactly.
Exactly.
No doubt about it. Exactly. All right, last one then. We'll wrap it up. And the last one is someone recently said that the 90s is filled with nerdy people who couldn't rap. But they just rapped over, nerdy people who just rapped over heavy drums and they had no flow, basically.
Yeah, so that was in response to something I tweeted out. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, some little kid who looked like a thimble said, he said, you look like a thimble with dreads, like unwashed dreads. And he said, when he said that, people cooked him because I was like, I've got no idea what you're talking about. I literally didn't know what he was talking about. So he's probably high on perks and fentanyl or whatever the kids are taking nowadays because it didn't make any reasonable kind of sense. But it just goes to show it's I can talk to my kids about music, right? I never grew up in their era, obviously, because I'm their father, but I can talk to them about music because my kids are open-minded and they can construct a sentence when you're talking.
Yeah.
They don't instantly go for, oh, you're old and all that bullshit that these kids come out of now, because that's their go-to. Because you're
Of course
older,
it is. They don't want to. They don't want to
understand.
learn. They know it.
Thank you. When I was younger, I wanted to learn about what came before me. I didn't just listen to one genre of music.
Exactly.
They listen to one genre of music now. That's what it is. So a lot of the people that's making the music aren't influenced by anything outside of the music. So that's why we're getting a lot of stuff that sounds exactly the same. The samples are all taken from the same places. That's why you're not getting chopped samples. You're just getting a replay of a sample that's already been sampled, because they don't know anything outside of hip hop. They don't listen to soul. They don't listen to rock. They don't listen to reggae. So for a young person to be that ignorant, if you don't like it, then that's fine. No one's forcing you to like anything. No one cares, really. Like, who gives a shit if you like it or you don't? Who cares what I like? No one. Like, I care what I like, but I don't expect a stranger to care about what I enjoy. Do you know what I mean? But to get that passionate and say it was only this and only that, then number one, you're probably way too young to have even delved into 20% of what came before you, because if you don't like it, you're not really going to keep delving further, are you? If I don't like the movie, I'm not going to keep watching it, because, you know what I mean, if it's really like painful to my eyes and ears, I'm not going to torture myself by continuing to watch it. So if you don't like it, you're not really going to dig any. So it would be curious to know what he's actually heard to make him form this opinion that everyone has the same flow. We could even go really stupid.
That's crazy, though. That's literally crazy. Same flow.
Did Tupac sound like Bone Thugs and Harmony? Did 3 6 Mafia sound like Tribe Called Quest? Did Biggie sound like Big Daddy Kane? We could go on and on and on. So it's another one of those that really doesn't deserve a response.
Yeah. It's probably one of the most varied era.
I don't like heavy drums. Okay, that's good for you. So what? What does that mean?
Yeah.
So
used to know drums now, innit? But do you know what I mean? But I mean, it's like, it was probably the most varied era. Like, you could actually hear a track and probably figure out who produced that, because people had their own sound and their own style. Like, and I'm not even trying to be this old hater, as everyone says, but there's an element of a lot of hip hop that comes out today that just sounds exactly the same. Like, when a lot of MCs or artists drop their new single or put a snippet of their new single, it sounds exactly like the last one they dropped. Do you know what I mean? We just spent time before talking about someone like Busta. There's no Busta of today. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no Tribe of today. There's no Wu of today. Like, this, to say that 90s rap, it was the blueprint. It was the you know what I mean? What people actually looked at and still reference to. It's still relevant today. When people make comments like that, they make comments like that because it's still relevant today. So they're trying to say, why is, in other words, it's like, why are you like always bigging up the 90s so much? It was just this. The 90s still gets bigged up today, like the 70s do in soul, or do you know what I mean? Or certain eras in certain genres still get bigged up to today for a reason. It's because it was a special time. And nowhere
do you think it pains them so much, though? Why do you think it hurts their soul so much that people love that era so much that years and years later they're still talking about it? They still care deeply about it. Why do you think it hurts their feelings so much that they get so passionate on Twitter and go into these unhinged rants about something that they didn't experience? Why? Like, I don't go into rant about the 70s. I never experienced it.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
I think they feel that our love of the 90s, and someone has actually said this to me, our love of the 90s stops appreciation of today's music. But it doesn't. And if it does, then you need to sort that out. It doesn't. But it doesn't, because I don't care. It's true though, because the 90s is my era, man. Like, no era's gonna touch the 90s for me. But if I hear something dropped in 2023 that I like, am I gonna say, oh, I don't like this because I only like the 90s? Of course not.
I want nothing
exactly.
more than dope shit to come out
Exactly.
to spark my spirit again and be like, wow, this
Mm.
is amazing. This is
Exactly.
new. Like they flipped that sample crazy. They're rapping crazy.
Mm. So
I
you
would
want
love nothing more than for someone to do that, but they're not. It's as simple as
exactly
that.
100%. And why do we want that so much? Because it's gonna prolong the
Exactly.
lifeline of this thing that we love so much. We spoke
Exactly.
a few episodes ago about no number ones, and it's not all about billboards and but it's a good example. Like it's not.
Mm.
There's a reason. You know,
Right.
we want hip hop to grow and continue to go from strength to strength. We don't actually want to have to be like, oh, let me listen to. I have to go back to '95 every time to really listen to. I want a 2023 only built for Cuban links. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want a 2023 Doggy Style, a 2023 Reasonable Doubt. I want that. Do you know what I'm saying?
If I'm honest, I don't want to
not
keep going
find it.
back. I don't want to keep going back and
Exactly.
listening to shit that I've already experienced. I've already had the first experience of hearing it. I've already had that first feeling, or I don't want to keep going back to that. I want new shit to be as dope. Therefore, I can continue listening to something new and be genuinely surprised at how good something was. Like it's almost like, I don't know. I feel like it's almost like we have to, like, people feign greatness now. It's almost like because something's slightly better than the rest of the shit, it's almost like that almost gets elevated beyond what it should. Like I hear
100%.
I see people getting
100%.
picked up and I'm like, there's nothing special about that at all. But it's literally better than 99% of the shit because a lot of the other shit is just generic nonsense.
100%. 100%.
So it gets elevated just because. But I would love.
And bro, it's the same on the flip. It was the same on the flip. When you come from an era when you look at 90s where there was a lot of quality, a lot of MCs that were albums where we looked at them and said, oh, that weren't all that. Then you listen to it again now and you're like, what was I thinking? This is actually hard. But because there was so much competition then,
right,
it didn't meet the standards. A lot of MCs, if they came out now that didn't really blow then, they'd be stars now.
Facts.
Do you know what I mean? So it's the same on the flip. You're exactly right. But because they know everything sounds the same, that's no disrespect to Kendrick. Well, I'm not even trying to do that. But that's why an MC like Kendrick now, he's not brand new, but an MC like Kendrick now will obviously is going to stand head and shoulders above everyone else because there's not many people like Kendrick now.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? But maybe if Kendrick like dropped in the 90s, I don't know if he would have got that same kind of attention. Or J. Cole dropped in the 90s, I don't know if he would have got that same attention. Because there were people doing that. There were people that had the concepts, the content, the storytelling, a lot of it. But because a lot of that isn't prevalent now, if someone comes out with it, like you said, man, bang, they're going to blow. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, definitely.
The generation gap, man, it's one of them that's... It's not going to go away, but I don't know where it started from. And I think a lot of it is from people that don't actually listen to hip hop. That's what pisses me off the most. A lot of the people with the loudest mouth, they don't know what they're talking about. Like they have no idea about what they're talking down on or whatever. Like they just say stuff to get likes or whatever. So I don't really take that serious because for you to make that blanket statement that everything sounded the same, then that tells you right. So
you ain't listening.
That's it.
Social media,
that boy got absolutely fried because I didn't even bother saying anything. I was just people going crazy on it. I was like, wow, okay. So it's
crazy.
He got
social media. Like you said, people do it for the likes. So to answer your question, you don't know when that happened. It was when social media blew up because, like we said so many times, we used to just talk hip hop with our crew, whoever. That you didn't care what people thought of your opinion.
Right.
You just had your opinion. But now that you can actually see what your opinion can garnish in regards to likes and reposts and blah, 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 you can actually see how popular your opinion is. That's when it mattered more. Do you know what I'm saying? Because people are like, oh, I want to say something that I want to get attention. We didn't care about all of that before. Like, you liked who you liked. That was it. Now it's like you get people claiming to like people. You don't know this stuff, but you're claiming to like them because they're popular. Or you diss who's popular because you want attention. It's all about likes and being seen. And that's why sometimes it's just like what you like, man. It doesn't matter what people think or say, man. Have your opinion. Do you know what I'm saying?
Couldn't have said it any better myself, bro.
So that's it, man. shocking statements, man. This can be revisited also another time.
Yeah,
There's
we
endless
definitely got some more in the pot for that, man. But yeah, some of them statements were absolutely shocking for real.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, cool. So yeah, guys, if any of those stirred up any passion, feel free to drop a comment below. Some of them really pissed me off. But it's all opinions at the end of the day. So, you know what I mean? No one needs to get punched in the face for it. So hope you enjoyed this week's episode. We'll be back next week. Please check out our previous episodes as well. Exclusive by Master Ace that we got from last week. And check us for the next episode. As always, who knows what it could be? It could be an interview. It could be something else. So stick with us. So from me, your boy Slack, and my co-host extraordinaire on my left.
Yes. E Major, thank you for rocking with us again. My Type of Hype, the podcast that celebrates hip hop and not just the hype. So until next week, keep it hype, stay blessed. Peace.
Yes, indeed. Salute.